So there I was, recording a video talking about my expectations for Natlan, when out of nowhere, Genshin drops their first Natlan teaser and, well, now that video is scrapped. Anyways, with this new info, I'll be going over my points once more, and hoping that this time I can get to hit upload before yet another teaser drops. In the scrapped version of this video, I wanted to talk about mounts, and well, while we don't exactly seem to be getting mounts, we are getting these adorable little creatures who we will be able to control around. While they are cool and all, I'm still really hoping that Kaya gets his chance to shine and that we actually get some plain old horses for once. Because a cavalry captain without any cavalry is honestly kinda pathetic. And also, I would just really love to see how Genshin would implement horses. But speaking of those creatures, that brings me on to the short landscape shots that we did get to see in the teaser. In the scrapped version of this video, I speculated that Natlan would have sort of like a dried wasteland kind of look, a magma plane war zone of sorts, almost like a Mad Max kind of aesthetic, because well, that's how Natlan had been described to us so far. It's been this nation of war, of fire and dragons and all this stuff, and yet the first teaser we see is like grassy mesas and cute dinosaurs. And don't get me wrong, I love these little guys, like, a lot. This one is mine, you guys can't have him. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit scared. Genshin really shined to me in Fontaine, not only because of its amazing story, but also because the theme of water interwove so perfectly into the main narrative of the Archon quest. But for Natlan, this seems just way too peaceful. And maybe I'm overreacting a bit because we only have this little clip to go off of, but when I heard of Natlan, I was expecting like a barren wasteland, villages in ruin, giant dragons like Storm Terror that people have just somehow accepted into society, and yet the first teaser we get are just these little creatures and a description of how they live in harmony with the humans there. And I'm not saying that Genshin cannot have nice and pretty parts in Natlan. What I am saying is just that, in my opinion, they need to be very careful to not lose people by just washing down the literal country of fire and war into a cutesy pal world inspired explorer region. Because while these creatures look amazing, and I love the aesthetic, for a country of war, I am very scared. Moving on from the creatures though, we didn't actually see any characters in this teaser, which really confused me. And while we don't know a lot about Natlan's characters, we can take a look at the one revealed character that we do know of to see if we can sniff out some sort of design inspirations that might come into play later. Since Genshin's regions take inspiration from real-world locations and cultures, many have speculated that Natlan will take inspiration from Latin America and tribal culture. Looking at the Teyvat chapter storyline preview, we can see the character Yansan. She looks to be a darker skinned girl with long white hair and green eyes. While I could try to pick apart every aspect of her design, the main things that I notice are the animal skull that she wears on her headband, the beaded necklace with a dreamcatcher-like ornament, and the flowy dress-like jacket. It almost looks like a more fire-themed version of Razor's clothes, combined with the appearance of mixing Nahida and Bennett. Overall, I think these more grungy and spiritual designs are the direction that Genshin is going to be heading when designing characters for Natlan. Although, with Natlan having multiple different tribes, I wouldn't be surprised if they each had little details that would just set them apart. Speaking of her having a resemblance to Bennett though, another interesting theory that I've seen going around lately is that Bennett is actually from Natlan, or in some theories even has the pyronosis without knowing. Whether these theories turn out to be true or not, we'll simply have to wait and see. But if so, I'd be very happy, as this would open the door for Genshin to not just add more characters and give them all of the spotlight, but to also just take some of the characters that we already know and love and just expand upon them more. After all, Genshin has evolved immensely since Mondstadt was released, so for some of these characters to be given a new chance to shine would be really amazing. Overall, Natlan seems really promising to me, but I'm also afraid of setting my expectations too high. I really want to see Genshin create something chaotically beautiful here, something just harsh and touching that makes me want to cry. But with this newest teaser, it doesn't really seem like the direction that they're going to go for Natlan. I am still hoping that for the next teaser we will be getting to see more of the Natlan that the lore described to us. The nation of constant ongoing war and the nation of fire. I also just really hope for silly things like cannons to be introduced, like those electro cannons back in Inazuma. Heck, since Genshin has been adding so many characters with guns as part of their kit, why wouldn't the literal country of war have advanced weaponry? Overall, Natlan seems to have a lot of things going for it, but also a lot of things that could go wrong or disappoint the community if not handled right. I hope the next teaser will show some more of that gruesome side of Natlan, and that Natlan will just live up to the image that we have been creating for it in our heads over these many years. But those are just my thoughts on Natlan, and I'm curious to hear what you think. Are there any points you think need to be addressed before we head into Natlan? Or are you just excited to play around with these cute new creatures? Let me hear what you think down in the comments. And until next time, see ya.